from his draft class of 2011. But, Shaq, I bet GMs want a redo on that one, man. He can just dominate games offensively.
You know, he's not really tall. He's 6'something".
Welcome, everyone, to this 2K Sports broadcast from suburban Detroit. We're live at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Thanks for joining us as we get set to bring you NBA basketball on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan alongside Clark Kellogg and Greg Anthony. And now the opening lineup for Boston. Thomas is the point with Bradley to his side. Jay Crowder out there with Kelly Olynyk. And it's Horford in at the center, locking down the middle. Now here's Bradley. Here's Crowder. Off the mark there with the three-point shot. Drummond, a bit of a disappointing season last year. Not so much in play, but people wanted to see a bigger leap from him. Now his numbers
has a lot of potential, Kevin. And listen, I don't think his play was bad. He just had such huge expectations to live up to. I mean, player development is not a straight line, and it would have been very hard to have him take another huge leap forward. Sometimes you have that sophomore jinx, but I'm expecting a big year from him this season.
Now here's Thomas. First quarter of play, 1 minute played. They get a hand on it. Stolen by Jackson. And the dunk to finish it off. Beauty.
That's a quick bucket there. Solid in transition.
Well, you know, he loves the chance to get out and run, and you could see right there why he does.
Thomas against Jackson. Bradley, no one around him. Good, and the assist goes to Thomas.
You know, I think when you've got somebody that open on the perimeter, a good shooter, the kickout's the only choice.
Out to Morris, uncovered. That's good. Morris has got his first bucket of the night. For Boston, they've gone 1 of 3 from the field to start this one so far. Picked by Horford. Thomas gets a wide open look. Misses the three, and he used the pump fake well there, but he couldn't capitalize. Jackson kicks to Morris. Drills it from outside. Morris has got 5 now.
There's a chance he could have a big game if they don't D him up more tightly on the perimeter. Well, we know prior to last season, the Pistons handed the car keys over to Stan Van Gundy. He had some early hiccups, but overall, I think they're headed in the right direction. He's a proven winning coach in the NBA.
Now here's Jackson. Harris dishes to Jackson. And lots of contact there. Missing the shot. He'll shoot 2. Well, with Coach Stan Van Gundy, it was a very successful first year in Detroit. He's a guy who's going to build around defense. That's been his MO.
And Van Gundy has always been a defensive first type guy, Kevin. I mean, the last 30 years, he has probably the best defensive efficiency for a career as a coach. And his teams always play with great emphasis on that side of the ball.
Jackson hits both of them. Reggie Jackson had made some noise about wanting a big contract to be moved last year. Ultimately, he was traded to Detroit.
Yep, Kevin traded from the Thunder to the Pistons, and it actually happened on deadline day.
Thomas to end the run, and Olynyk gets it to go on the assist by Thomas.
And when you've got a big man who can shoot from distance like that, what a huge advantage.
Now about 3 minutes gone in the first quarter. It's Jackson with the drive. Caldwell Pope passes it to Harris. And right away. They match it with a three-pointer of their own. Harris has got himself going there. His first points of the game on the deep ball.
Struggled with the Pistons last year as well. The team went on a losing streak as soon as he got there. And Jackson will look for a fresh start this season. I mean, hard to play with all the drama and questions going in your head about pending free agency. And guys, as much as Isaiah Thomas can help you on offense, at times he can hurt you on the defensive side. Immediately posted up by whomever he's guarding, you have to give help. And, of course, that leaves your defense vulnerable, particularly on the weak side and controlling that defensive backboard.
Here's Marjanovic, just 5 on the clock. The Pistons need to get off a shot here. Ball's knocked loose, and they'll turn it over. Could not get off a shot. 24-second violation. Rozier, he's checked in for Thomas. Celtics trail by 6. Greg, you talked about Isaiah Thomas before. Certainly his short stature limits him on Clark, the defensive side.
Yeah, but you know what? He doesn't rack up a ton of steals, given his instincts and quickness. I think he really focuses on making his impact at the offensive end.
Here's Johnson after the basket by Boston. Here's Lure. And he was fouled in the act of shooting. Chance here now for a three-point play.
This is as good as it gets for a first quarter in terms of shooting the basketball.
Greg, you're exactly right. I mean, everything seems to be dropping. Impressive scoring here.
Last season, the Celtics had a solid 19-22 road record, Clark. Not the 500 mark most teams want, but a very good effort from a young team, and no one really expected that.
Yeah, and you think about this team that's still growing and has a lot of youth. I mean, that kind of road record, very impressive. Their fans should be feeling pretty good about what the future holds with this group.
And 2 shots coming up at the line as he gets fouled on the shot.
And thinking back on the Celtics, on the road, their away record doesn't tell the whole story. They won their last 7 road games in that tremendous playoff push.
Another away from home note for the Celtics. They were 7-1 in road games against the rest of their division. Their road play was the driving factor as to why they made the playoffs.
Now here is Smith looking for his first basket still in this one. Johnson with the block, and they're able to recover. Over in the corner, Caldwell Pope. Pistons keep it alive. Tough possession there. They stayed with it, but they just couldn't make it. Here's Smart, and he makes it look easy, dunking it hard with one hand.
And really, he epitomizes what a point guard should be. I mean, his skills as a passer might actually be matched by that creativity he shows around the rim.
Well, judging by that jam, Greg, I'd say you're absolutely right.
Boy, that's a nice surge for them just when they needed it in a game that was so tight.
Right wing. On the wing, Green. Here's Johnson. The drive by Green. And it's good, but hold on. The officials may want to look at that one on the replay monitor. And indeed, they're going to look at it again. They need to be certain he beat the buzzer.
And the NBA Replay Center in Secaucus is queuing it up, and even before we look at the replay, I'm pretty sure he got that off in time.
Yeah, that's how it looked to me, and that's the call we should see here, but no harm in going back to the footage and making absolutely certain.
And they've overturned the call. The replay was conclusive, and that one's going to count.
And, Kevin, an example of why it's good to have replay. I don't know what kind of impact.
And Amir Johnson re-signed in Toronto. He's been a big part of this team for years, and he talked about
almost like a soccer app.
A lot of fans south of the border in the U.S. are surprised when they learn how passionate, Clark, the fans in Toronto can be.
You know, Kevin, that's so true. I mean, when they get it going at the Air Canada Center, that place rocks. And it's great to hear Amir talk about how that pumps him up and makes him want to do it for Canada.
And we welcome you back to start the quarter. Players had a chance to get hydrated with Gatorade. And there's certain to be some great basketball ahead for us. And a chance for just a second now to check out the scoring breakdown for Detroit.
They've definitely had a hot hand from three-point range. Always nice to get off to a good start.
They've been distributing the ball really well tonight, too. I mean, a decent number of assists so far for them.
They've got Drummond, Reggie Jackson out there with Ish Smith. Then it's Marcus Morris, and it's Harrison at the 4 slot. They're the group Detroit will start the second with.
I tell you what, it's almost like stealing to watch how he plays the game from this seat.
And for Reggie Jackson, the league is going the right way in terms of his skill set. Everyone loves the guard who can shoot well enough to bust the zone as well as make plays for others and at the rim. And Jackson is that guy.
Here's Thomas, plenty of space. Not enough on that one as it misses.
Well, I think he was surprised by how much space he had there and just rushed the shot a little bit.
Cannot hit. Celtics trail by 4. It's stolen by. That's good. Smith's got his.